Call this meeting to order. Roll call, Shannon.
Mayor Trujillo,
Here.
Commissioner Butcher,
Here.
Commissioner Gandy,
Here.
Commissioner Bolt,
Here.
Commissioner Butcher.
Here. Compost. Compost.
Did I not do
You
Compost?
haven't called Commissioner.
Commissioner Compost.
Here.
Okay. We stand with me with the Commissioner Scotty Gannon will lead us in pledge and prayer.
We pray with me. Dear Holy Father, Lord, we just thank you for this glorious day. Lord God, we just pray that you be with our city commissioners as we lead this meeting tonight. Lord God, we just pray for our hospital and our first responders. Lord God, we just pray for your hand of protection upon them during the pandemic, this COVID-19. Lord God, I just pray that you would heal this land and move us forward. Lord God, as we make decisions tonight, give us the forethought, give us the decision-making skills, give us the ability to do what's right for our citizens and our community. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
We lead. Follow me in the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In the pledge of the state of New Mexico, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the state of Mexico. Salute.
Amen. Thank you, Scotty. All right. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Campos, second the motion. Have motion second. Is there any further questions? No questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Excuse me.
Aye.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Aye.
My apologies. We got to do roll call. My apologies. Roll call. Shannon?
Mayor Trujillo,
Yes.
Mayor Compost.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Compost. Commissioner
Commissioner
Gandy,
Compost? You need to speak up.
I'm having trouble hearing her, but
Okay.
she's asking for me, yes.
You have to speak up.
Commissioner Compost,
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy,
Yes.
Commissioner Bolt,
Yes.
Commissioner Butcher.
Yes. Agenda is approved. Do I have a motion? Another motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to consider the minutes of March 23rd, 2020 and April 1st, 2020.
Second.
Had a second by Bernard Butcher. Is there any questions? There's no.
No, sir.
If there's no questions, roll call, Shannon.
Commissioner Bolt, Commissioner Bolt,
Yes.
Commissioner Compost,
Yes.
Commissioner Butcher,
Yes.
Mayor Trujillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy.
Yes.
Minutes of 2020 and April 1st of 2020 are approved. Moving on to Commissioner and Staff Report. Wyatt?
Nothing new to report, sir.
Is there any questions by the board for Wyatt? There is no questions. Gary?
Nothing new to report, sir.
Any questions by the board for Gary? There's no questions. Shannon?
No, sir, nothing to report.
Is there any questions for Shannon by the board? There are no questions. Commissioner Bernard?
I'm good.
Commissioner Scott Bolt?
Yes, I have a couple questions. I believe these will go to James. Are our projects, as far as Commercial Street, the Magistrate Court, Veterans Park, are them put on hold?
Commissioner Bolt, Mayor, Commissioners. So Commercial Street is actually still moving forward. It's related to federal funds. That project is moving forward. However, there has been a temporary hold put on the project until May 4th while New Mexico Gas Company completes relocating its line. As far as the Magistrate Court Complex, we did finalize the documents on April 10th. That project is moving forward. I know that the latest update I have for you all is that the environmental company has completed the assessment of the site for any hazards, but I don't have a firm date on demolition or when the construction documents will be finished and they'll begin construction. What was the third project you referenced, sir?
Veterans Park.
The Veterans Park project, that project is still moving forward. One thing that Mr. Gallagher and I had discussed is waiting until the crisis has resolved so we can have better public input. We will be releasing some information that our design firm has prepared as far as some renderings for the committees to look at individually and provide any feedback directly back to the architecture firm before we have some public meetings.
Okay. Another question, as far as the fire station, I believe it passed inspection. The new fire station, what's going on with the building, and as far as with the finances of the building with that company not being done on time?
So the station is complete. We did receive a certificate of occupancy middle of last month, and then we did receive a certificate of substantial completion on March 25th. That building right now is going to stay vacant as it is a backup public safety building in light of the current pandemic. In the event that we have one of our public safety folks test positive for COVID, the operations plan is to remove everybody out of the public safety building over to that new station to where they can use it until our current public safety, to include the police department, is terminally clean and they can go back. So right now it's a reserve, I guess you would say, station. It was certified by the state of New Mexico as a second main fire station. In regards to the liquidated damages, we are corresponding with the construction firm right now, Alaska, to discuss the liquidated damages.
Okay. And as far as the, how is the paying online going? I know you said you were working on that as far as with the water bills.
So we're still waiting on the Encode for Tyler Technologies to finish doing the final setup. We have received our new credit card machines that'll interface well with the online system. So we're still a week or two out, I would anticipate, unless they have reduced some of their staff and having to work from home due to the company's location. But we're still a couple weeks out from finalizing that process and then running our own internal tests to make sure that we don't roll out a product that's not usable.
Okay, and I have one last question. It's with ordinance number 553 with the water service sewer rates and billing. Chapter 13, 12040, as far as rate reductions for residential customers 65 and over, they're allotted a 10% reduction. And as far as people on Social Security benefits are also eligible for a 10% reduction. How are the people being made aware of these benefits?
So whenever the ordinance was initially adopted several years ago, every residential and commercial customer was sent a copy of that ordinance by first-class mail. To be honest, the easiest way for them to find out about those benefits, since we don't actually keep date of birth information in our Encode system, there's To be honest, there's not a field for it that I'm aware of. The customers simply just have to reach out to City Hall and ask.
Would that be something that we might be able to put once a year in their water bill?
Yes, sir, we can. We have room to put text on our water bills, so that's a good suggestion that we can implement.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Bolt. Commissioner Campos?
I have nothing. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Campos. Commissioner Gandy?
I do not have anything this evening.
Thank you, Commissioner Gandy. Police Chief?
Nothing to report, sir.
Thank you, Chief. Chief Lizardo?
Nothing to report, sir.
Thank you, Chief. City Manager James Williams?
Yes, sir. So I've got to move some screens around here for a moment to share with everyone. Let's see here. Okay. Hopefully, those who are attending virtually, we are trying this new method. We'll review everything tonight to see that we do have one other alternative as far as being able to live stream as well as solicit public comment. But hopefully those who are attending virtually tonight can see the slide that we do have up on the screen. So one thing I'd like to discuss, of course, is, as you know, our public health order that the state of New Mexico that has created the closure of businesses that are deemed non-essential went into effect on March 23rd. The city had no part in the determination of an essential business or a non-essential business. This information was released on the afternoon on that day, and shortly after the press conference by the governor, the New Mexico State Police had invited our police department as well as all of the other municipal police departments in the state of New Mexico to discuss the logistics behind the closure order. They also requested assistance. Our department, the Lovington Police Department, was requested to do the following. One is that if we do receive a complaint on a business that potentially is non-essential, they have asked us to simply make a phone call to advise of the public health order. We contact that business and advise them of such. If the city receives a second complaint about that same business that may be non-essential, that is when one of our police officers will go by the place of business, and then we simply provide them the public health order. If a third complaint is received about the same non-essential business, the police department then notifies the state police by email, who will in turn make the decision in regards to enforcement. Contrary to some folks' beliefs out there, the city of Lovington is not enforcing the order. The city of Lovington has not closed a business. We are providing businesses information in regards to the public health order in the hopes that they would not face any possible action by the state, police, or other state agencies. We do not want to see any of our businesses get into any legal troubles, as this crisis is stressful enough. We're just simply providing information. In addition, we would like to emphasize the following points. One, our police department has not told any business directly that they have to close. They haven't done this under the instruction of myself or the police chief. We have followed the guidelines provided by the state police. We can't force them to close, as we do not have the legal authority to do so. We have encouraged the businesses to be familiar with the public health order, as well as refer them to the state for an official opinion as to if they are essential or non-essential, and if they can remain in operation during the order. In fact, our police department has only had 2 businesses in which complaints were filed, and these were a health and fitness center as well as a household rental business. Those are the only businesses that our law enforcement has been in contact with. In addition, the same statement that I just made about our police department, it applies to other city staff. All we have done is provided information. We've discussed potential options for them to stay in operation if they may be deemed non-essential. Also referred them to the state of New Mexico for clarification on the order. Once again, we want to make sure that we want to keep them from getting into any issues with the state of New Mexico in light of the public health order. We do not go out and actively seek open non-essential businesses. We only respond to complaints that are received from the public. Now, I will say that I did reach out to one business to inform them about the order. This was done in an effort to keep them out of trouble. The intent, and I can't stress this enough, was not to have them, tell them they had to shut down. We were simply providing information and assistance during this stressful period. Our whole goal with providing information about the health order, it's aimed at keeping our businesses out of legal issues with the state of New Mexico. We empathize with the owners of these businesses. We're very cognizant about the financial impacts that they are experiencing. The closure of any business in the city affects our operations as well, and in turn the whole community. We're very eager for our businesses to get back into operation as soon as we can, but we do know that there still are public health concerns. Although we've had a very low incidence of the infection from COVID-19 in all of Lee County, there still only remains 2 as of today. The aim of the order is to prevent its spread. It's extremely frustrating not only to the business owners, but also to the city as well. We really hope that this ends soon so things can get back to normal. We also encourage anyone, public or business owners, who have any questions, that we truly mean it when we say, please contact us. We want to help you out. We want to answer questions if we don't have the answer. We want to be able to point you in that right direction. So that's all the report I have as far as the non-essential business issue, which has been discussed quite frequently over the past couple of days. Do you have any questions? Do any of the commissioners have any questions?
James, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
It's regarding, again, some rumors that are out there within the city of Lovington. I've had a couple of citizens contact me. I think I already know the answer, but I would like to just put it out there. Basically, there was a concern about an employee of a local store, a dollar store, that had contracted the virus, and that was pushed through social media. Have you received any information regarding that? Any questions regarding that? I know that it was probably a false report, but I was just curious. Have you heard anything about that?
Yes, sir. I was actually contacted about that, and I can confirm it is absolutely false. It was a rumor. There have only been the 2 cases. I believe the one that was initially reported on March 19th, I believe, was the first case in Lee County. Then shortly thereafter, we had a second case. Both of those individuals, from what we understand, have recovered, but there have been no diagnosed cases reported here. So that rumor did start on social media by someone, but it was actually confirmed to be false.
Very good. Thank you for that, James.
Sure.
Okay, if there's no further questions.
I have 2 more things.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
So two more items, non-COVID related. We are the aerial apparatus that was ordered about 18 months ago. Right now, next week, we will be going through a virtual walkthrough of it in light of the fact that we can't travel out of state to do our final inspection on it. But we are actually looking at delivery on May 1st. So we'll have that new truck, which will be stationed in the downtown station. But we will make sure that once it gets here, we will go through a very thorough, from bumper to tailboard on that, to make sure that everything is how it should be. The second is on our cheese plant. Of course, May 1st is the tentative closing date. We've had some delays due to the pandemic with getting certain documents finalized, notarized. They are waiting, the company is waiting on one final permit to be approved by the state of New Mexico, which the State Economic Development Department is keeping on top of that to make sure that everything stays on schedule. And currently out there at the facility, they are working on finalizing and finishing up the fire suppression system as well as installing the backflow preventers. So that project right now is on track, and hopefully they will start getting more of their processing equipment delivered so they can get into operation just as soon as possible. And that's all I have.
Is there any questions by the board for City Manager James Williams? There's no further questions. City Attorney Patrick, do you have any questions?
Nothing to report, sir.
Thank you, sir. Any questions by the board for City Attorney? Okay, moving forward to public comment. In respect to the Open Meetings Act and the period of social distancing, we have provided a teleconference number for our citizens to utilize so that they may make public comment. We ask that the public who have been called in via teleconference number to do the following. Number one, please state your name prior to beginning your comment. Number two, the mayor will identify you and permit you to speak. We realize that many may be on the call and request that all who are participating be mindful that multiple people will speak at the same time. Please only begin your comments when the mayor calls on you. Please be patient. We will make sure your comments are heard. Number three, individuals desiring to make public comment will only be allowed 1 to 3 minutes, period, to make their comments. Number four, if you are watching the live stream and have called in, please be aware there may be a delay in what is streamed by video and teleconference audio. This cannot be avoided. Number five, if you are watching the live stream and have called in, please mute the live stream audio on your video device, as this will cause feedback issues for you. Number six, if you have called in via teleconference, please mute your microphone on the side until you are ready to make a comment. Number seven, we thank everyone for their patience during this period. When you call the public comment, okay, thank you.
And Mayor, everything is, should be unmuted.
Okay.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
this is Dean Jackson, the county commissioner.
Yes,
I
sir.
just wanted to make a few comments. Upon talking with other commissioners, Lee County commissioners, we are working on a statement to send to the governor relating, getting Lee County back to work. I realize that a lot of the small businesses are hurting. I'm one of them. We don't have any traffic. The response to essential and non-essential businesses is very spotty at best. What I want to do, and would hope the Lovington Commission will back us on this, is, get this county back to work on May 1st, regardless of what the governor deems going forward, because we have heard, and she made a statement that she would not open the whole state up for business on non-essential businesses until every case and the pandemic was over. We think this is ridiculous. We're smart enough to be cautious and practice safe practices in our businesses. Today there have only been 31 deaths in the state of New Mexico. There's been 304 recovered from this pandemic. I just want the people of Lovington to know that the Lee County Commission is working on
Thank you, Commissioner Dean. Is there anybody else that want to speak during public comment? Okay, going to go ahead and move forward to non-action items. City Manager James Williams.
Mayor and Commissioners, oops, I apologize. Let me fix that. So one of the things that we are working with, of course, is the discussion on the Main Street water line and funding this project. As you know, the state of New Mexico is still slated. Hopefully for fall of this year. I know that all certifications for the project are due by June of this year. So it seems like this project is on track for construction of the first phase for fall of 2020. If you recall, we did identify the need to replace the water main that runs down Main Street. Of course, the first phase of this project is going to start in the area of Avenue F or Avenue E on Main and go all the way up to Jackson. We realize this line is over 50 years old, but one of the issues that we've come across is because of the drainage system that's having to be installed to meet the state requirements to handle the anticipated flood water. We are actually having to relocate and put a lot of adjacent connections and essentially move our water line out of the way of that drainage, which did cause the cost of this project to increase. So the the estimated cost for the replacement of this line, just materials alone, that our engineering firm has come up with, is just materials alone, it's over $1 million. We're anticipating, even though the construction is going to be performed by the state's contractor, we're throwing in an estimated construction cost of $400,000, which brings the total project up to a little over $1.4 million. So we have been looking at funding sources for this. Of course, we have we budgeted $200,000 from our utility and $200,000 from our local economic development program. Also, we had a capital outlay appropriation where we were going to drill 3 new water wells out in our well field, but due to the cost of drilling and materials, that project is not feasible with the amount of money that they had allocated. So our legislators did apply for reauthorizing this particular project in this last legislative session, and it was approved by the governor. And then, as you know, our number one request for capital outlay appropriations this year was $600,000 towards the water line replacement on Main Street, because it is a vital project. Only problem is the governor did veto the $600,000. It was a general fund allocation, and as you know, with the projected revenues that were coming in, the state started slashing everything. So this was one of the governor's line item vetoes. So we've looked at alternative funding options after talking with the state and letting them know they have encouraged us, one, to apply through the New Mexico State Infrastructure Bank. We went ahead after discussing this with the mayor. We did a pre-application just to see if this is a project that they would consider funding. We don't have any of the loan terms. We did request a debt service repayment over 10 years. And as far as pledging revenue, really the only gross receipts tax increment that I would feel comfortable tying into would be the local option gross receipts tax over the next 10 years. Another potential funding source for the debt service on that, or even just paying cash for it, would be using the proceeds from the sale of the cheese plant. As you know, that's fixing to close, and that will, the ordinance is, in the ordinance that we adopted that authorized the project participation agreement, any proceeds from the sale of that goes to basically paying off the debt service and for any costs that the city's encumbered. This would actually give us access to some cash. That was an unsecured loan, granted it is with the EDCs, in the EDC's name, but it is an unsecured loan, so they can actually sell that property, but yet still have that line of credit essentially still open. So I've been discussing this with Evelyn and the president of the EDC to get some type of a recommendation from them. But I just wanted to update you all that we are looking at having to find some additional funds to make sure that the water line replacement is taken care of. I do not know if we cannot find the funds, what the state will do. I was just directed by the state to exhaust every resource possible before a final decision was made. I don't know if that indicates that they potentially would pay for the difference on the cooperative utility agreement, but I just, as I said, I just wanted to give everyone an update. Are there any questions?
Thank you, James.
Go ahead, Commissioner Campos. Do you have a question?
No, I was just thanking James for the update.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, moving forward to action items. Do I have a motion?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for ordinance 582, an ordinance of the city of Lovington, New Mexico, amending Title 13, Chapter 1312, rates, billing, and collections, and creating Article 4, periods of declaration of disaster emergency.
Second.
Had a second by Commissioner Gandy.
Commissioner Campos?
Shannon,
Commissioner Campos?
Shannon, hang on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Oh, that's right.
Is there any questions by the
Are
board?
we having,
Is there
are we
any?
having discussion?
We need
Yes, yes, sir.
You need to discuss it first.
I could
Everybody jumping the gun.
This is, wow. All right, so bear with me a moment while I switch screens. So as you know, at our last city commission meeting, we did discuss utility payments during declared emergencies or disasters. We have advertised this ordinance. If you went into Nova's agenda, you would see where we've advertised it in the Hobbs paper as well as the Lovington Leader and kept copies here. I haven't had any requests for any copies of this ordinance, but just to kind of review what this ordinance does establish is that in a time where the city commission declares an emergency or disaster, this section of our rates and utilities billing would go into effect. As you know, on March 23rd, we did declare an emergency at a regular commission meeting. During that period of emergency, we will not disconnect service. This does not include accounts that were previously past due prior to the declared emergency. But this was, I guess you would say, be akin to the moratorium period that the electric co-op puts in the winter, that they won't disconnect your power. However, you still are responsible for the balance. And the easiest way to go about this is we will offer payment extensions. There's no limit on the number of extensions during the declaration period. Right now, during normal operations, we only allow 2 per calendar year. Hopefully, with this particular, if this item is approved tonight, it will go into effect immediately. Hopefully, we will only have to maybe grant 1 if this doesn't extend for months. However, in order for somebody to make the extension request, we have to receive the request prior to the 25th. After the 25th, we would be able to grant an extension. However, there would still be a $50 penalty. With the extensions, you do have to request a new one every 30 days during that particular event. They are income sensitive, so you have to prove that you are at or below the poverty line based on the number of dependents or folks that you have living in your household. So folks will have to provide us with proof of income as well as proof of the number of individuals or dependents in their home for their tax returns, just to certify that. And then in the, when the emergency or the disaster is finished, that's the end of the incident, the commission will declare that by resolution. And then individuals have two options. They still have to provide repayment. So we would prefer that all of the amount, the past due amount during the declaration period is all paid at once. However, if an individual can't come up with the additional funds to pay the past due plus their current balance, we would offer them the ability to go into a repayment plan, which the repayment plan essentially means that they have 90 days to pay their entire past due balance. They would make the request. It would be due on the first day of the month where they will submit the form to us. They must make their payment on or before the 10th of each month to include their current bill, and they will have 90 days to pay in full. If they fail to pay, there will be a $50 penalty. Their service will be disconnected, and in order to restore service, they must pay their entire balance. So this is as we previously discussed, this we think is the easiest way to assist our customers, but at the same time preserve taxpayer resources, because if individuals don't pay their bills, the city has to come up with the funding somehow to ensure that we can still provide that service. But this was the fairest way that we thought when devising this, and as we discussed at our last meeting, to address this particular issue. And I would stand for any questions.
Well, I got one myself, and it is to my understanding, when this goes on, that, and I know people really don't realize it, when they are disconnected or they owe that bill, they cannot have another person move out, put it in their name until that bill is in full pay completed. And I know a lot of people don't understand that, but it has to be paid before they can actually get it turned into their name.
Correct. Yes, sir. And we've had individuals try to do that before where they have a past due balance. Well, if they leave, if they claim they move out and somebody else moves in, the past due balance has to be paid in full. The only exception to that is in a rental property, which there's certain things that the owner of the property has to do in order to get that rental deposit set up, as well as the rental contract and agreements.
Is there any other questions by the board? Roll call vote. Shannon?
Commissioner Campos? Commissioner Campos?
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy?
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Bolt? Commissioner Bolt?
Yes.
Commissioner Butcher?
Yes.
Mayor Trujillo?
Yes.
Hold on just a second. Commissioner Bolt, if you could go ahead and unmute your mic and say your vote again.
Yeah.
Ordinance 582 has passed. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion, resolutions 2020-025, approving the replat of Block 19 East Addition to the City of Lovington, which will create a new 30-foot alley easement vacant a 30-foot portion of Chavez Street and a vacant the existing 20-foot alley easement.
Second.
Second.
Better. Second by Commissioner Gandy. James?
Mayor and Commissioners, if you recall at our last regular commission meeting, which I believe was March 23rd, we submitted to you a replat of a addition to the City of Lovington. This resolution simply corrects that previously adopted resolution to reflect it is not in the college addition, it is in the East addition. This is just to make sure that things are clear for title purposes.
Is there any questions by the board?
No, sir.
Roll call vote, Shannon.
Commissioner Bolt,
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy. Mayor
Yes.
Mayor Trujillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Compost,
Yes.
Commissioner Butcher.
Yes.
Resolution 2020-225 is passed. Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to consider accounts payable.
Second.
Had a motion second by Commissioner Gandy. James?
Actually, I believe Gary is still on the line, so if any of the commissioners have any questions, he would be able to answer those for you.
Yes. Yes, sir. I should point out this particular issue with our payments. We have two debt service payments that were made out of here. We had the $190,430 payment for our hold harmless bond, and then we had a New Mexico Finance Authority payment for a water loan that we had.
How much was that one, Gary?
Oh, the water payment was $174,941.50.
Gary, under Ben E. Keith Amarillo, what is that for?
Food for senior center.
Okay.
Gary, on the Audi's copy repair service for 24,000.
Yes, sir. We have a machine in the finance department that has both a lease payment with it, and then also it pays for the copies that we do. And this was a semi-annual payment.
Actually, in addition to that, that's where we ordered the new fire station furniture from. So that's why that bill is substantially more than normal.
All right, thank you.
And Gary, who is Huber Technology?
With the H?
Yes, sir.
That was for, actually, Gary, that was for our wastewater treatment plant. It was a
Yes.
rebuild of our screw press machine.
Screw
And
press.
that's- Yes, and that was actually
Yeah.
reimbursed through a state capital outlay appropriation.
Okay.
James, on Lee County State Bank, is that the note that we paid? Did we pay that note off? Is that for the 190 or what does that refer to?
No, that was for our hold harmless. If you remember the 2015 hold harmless bond series, was done through Lee County State Bank.
Lovington Auto for 12,000.
Let me check.
Are you, it's one.
Oh, never mind. I got my lines crossed.
1,200.
I'm good.
Is there any other questions by the board? Roll call vote, Shannon.
Commissioner Butcher,
Yes.
Commissioner Bolt,
Yes.
Commissioner Compost,
Yes.
Mayor Trujillo,
Yes.
Commissioner Gandy.
Yes.
Accounts payable have been approved. Do I have a final motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Motion second made by Commissioner Gandy. Roll call vote, Shannon.
Commissioner Compost, Commissioner
Yes.
Compost, Commissioner Gandy,
Yes.
Commissioner Bolt,
Yes.
Commissioner Butcher,
Yes.
Mayor Trujillo.
Yes. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.